Zachor et Yom HaShabbat Lakadasho. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Hands down, this is the most debated, the most controversial commandment found anywhere in the 10 Commandments. I mean, it is really something. No other commandment that is given has been so hotly debated, more contested, or stirred more controversy than this commandment. In fact, I want to share a little commentary with you from a renowned scholar, known throughout the world, has countless books, and one of his books is actually called Unveiling Mysteries in the Bible. Listen to this statement. He says this: of all the mysteries that I have been asked about over the years, the question of whether Christians should worship on Sunday or on Saturday has perplexed and bothered more believers than any other question in my experience. We have Christians that say we need to keep the Sabbath. We have Christians that say we're obligated to keep the commandment. Jump the other side of the tracks, you have other Christians, not unbelievers. That is not the context. Other Christians that say you don't have to keep it. And what's interesting is we're given all these various reasons why Christians would not keep the Sabbath. I want to take you through some of them. First one, Jesus changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. And you got to understand the backdrop. The whole backdrop is well, yes, they'll admit, there are Christian pastors and teachers that'll admit, yeah, Saturday was definitely the Sabbath. But when Christ came, he died and rose again. Upon that resurrection, the solemnity of the sanctity of the holiness that was on Shabbat left Shabbat and transferred to the day of resurrection, the first day of the week. This is what some believe. Others believe that you can pick whatever day you want, whatever's most convenient to you. You know, the concept behind this is that they understand there are principles in the Shabbat, there's principles in the Sabbath that are of value. We really should incorporate that, but you don't have to incorporate it on Saturday or even on Sunday. Whatever fits with your schedule, whatever is most convenient. Another idea that is being touted is every day is a Sabbath. Makes no distinction between any day. Every day is holy. And again, the concept behind that is, well, because if I follow Jesus and Jesus is my rest, clearly the concept is there a day that I shouldn't worship him? And so now every day becomes a Sabbath. You have this idea that Jesus annulled the Sabbath. It's part of the Old Testament law. This is completely abrogated. It's completely done away with. There is no Sabbath anymore. And then you have this idea. To keep the Sabbath is sinful. You're falling from grace. You're actually rejecting Jesus if you go and try to observe the commandment, or you go and tell others, you know what, we're obligated to keep this commandment. Then you're a Judaizer and you're trying to bring people under the law. And to do that is a total rejection of grace. We have this that's being taught. The Sabbath is for Jews, but Sunday is for Christians. Dual covenant theology. You know, this is where you get into that. You know, the Jewish Sabbath, that's for Jews. No Christian who is a Gentile Christian who's accepted the gospel would keep that because it's not for them. Total separation between Jew and Gentile. You have this other idea. Christians don't have to keep the Sabbath because it isn't commanded in the New Testament. Quite popular today. Where the litmus test is if we don't find it in the New Testament explicitly, you know, that the common teaching is as well, as we go through the 10 Commandments, we can see the other 9 are reiterated, but the 10th one, or the 4th one rather, is not. That's not reiterated, so we as Christians, we don't need to do it. I'm not saying I agree with it, I'm just telling you that this is what is being taught. And the last one I want to share with you, it's a matter of personal conscience. In other words, it's a little bit different than this one. You can pick whatever day you want. Typically, people that carry this ideology, they believe you really should incorporate the Sabbath principles. You should, at some point, whenever it's convenient, you should be doing this. Down here, It's a little bit looser, much more progressive. It's like, you know what? If you want to keep it, mazel tov. If you don't want to keep it at all, Sunday, Saturday, not any day of the week, you don't have to. It's a matter of personal conviction. The reason I'm here today, that I'm doing what I'm doing right now, is that there was once upon a time, decades ago, where I was seeking the Lord with my whole heart, and I was starting to read things in Scripture that I realized were not lining up with the atmosphere of the particular church I was going to. And when you start talking to other Christians and saying, well, you know, why is it we don't keep the Sabbath? And you start going, you can ask 4 different people and you get 4 different answers, you have a problem. I want you guys to think about something. Isn't it interesting? The other 9 commandments, there's no debate. There's absolutely no debate. But somehow when we come to the Shabbat, there's, as Dr. Jeffrey noted, it's the most debated thing. And here's what's I struggle with. When you go to this other side of the tracks and those Christians that say you don't have to keep the Sabbath, there is a plethora of reasons why. None of them equal the other. They're all different. If I knew nothing else and I was just a baby Christian and I'm coming into it, and everybody has a different idea and interpretation in regard to why you wouldn't keep the Sabbath, that for me is a red flag. And you know what that calls for? It calls for an investigation. We are responsible. Nay, I say it demands full investigation. If you're a Christian and you've never heard about the Sabbath, you really don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you this, you need to investigate it. There's no other commandment that he begins with remember. That is an incredible, is this significant? You better believe it. Because what this is telling us is that this is prophecy. We are dealing with Bible prophecy. It's a prophetic warning. Isn't it interesting that the only commandment that begins with remember is the only commandment that has been forgotten? We as Christians must come to terms with the reality that we are the target. The enemy is coming to take us out. And here's the deal. If God has commanded us to remember the Sabbath, what do you think the devil's going to do? He's going to do everything to get you to forget it.
Hey there, this is Mike at Corner Fringe Ministries, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch our video. We hope that it blessed you and it encouraged you. And if it did, please hit the thumbs up on the video and share it with your friends and family. It's also, if you haven't already considered, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, if you'd like to watch the entire video, click on this link. And if you'd like to watch the entire series and learn more about what we do and believe here at Corner Fringe Ministries, click on this link. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching the video, and we hope to see you again soon. Shalom.